All right, party people, we are on to week 2. So we're going to talk about what it means to sell contingent. What are the pros? What are the cons? Like, should you do it? Is it possible? All right, so selling contingent. Let's get some. Oh, dude, before I get started, I'm Ashley. I'm Ashley Keller Williams Real Estate. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, subscribe and like the channel. Dude, there's so much good content on here, okay? Check out all my videos. So much. There's so much. Okay, so let's talk about selling contingent, okay? So what it means is that you will buy their home if you are able to sell your current home, all right? Now, there are there's some different kinds of contingency, okay? Like, I feel like there's some levels here. There's one type of contingency where it's like the lender says, look, I can't give you another mortgage unless you get rid of your current mortgage, all right? That's a pretty hard contingency, okay? Basically it just means like it's not going to work unless you sell that house, all right? The other type of contingency I think that people commonly have is they like a bit of a self-imposed contingency. They're kind of like, well, I don't really want to have 2 mortgages, reasons. And so I would prefer, I'm going to use that word, prefer to sell my house before I buy the next one, okay? Now, the one where it's like lender imposed, that's a tough deal, okay? If that's the case, you really have no choice but to sell your house, all right? The one where you would prefer to sell it, I think pay attention to next week's video, okay? Because next week's video is maybe the way to go, all right? I feel like next week's video is one option, or the other option is to just buy the new house and have 2 mortgages for a little bit, honestly, because the rates are so, not the rates, the inventory is just so low, okay? So let's get into the cons, and that way I think you'll get a sense of why I'm recommending that, okay? So I think the biggest con, and this is a big one, this is a big con of selling contingent or trying to submit contingent offers, are that you may lose out on the house of your dreams. I think if you remember from my previous video, I talked about how low inventory is. It is very, very low. And if you're in a market like mine, where every house is its own unique snowflake, it is bound to happen. You will fall in love with a house, a very unique house. You will write that contingent offer and they won't accept it because it's contingent. And so you won't get that house. And here's the thing, once that house is gone, I don't even need to say the rest. It's gone, okay? So I think that's a huge con. I think it's an enormous con. I think one of the other things that is just kind of a reality of being contingent is that you will probably just have to write more offers. It just is what it is. If you feel like you want to go that road, you're going to have to write more offers. The next one, the third thing that I think is a big con is I think, in my opinion, whenever my clients have had to write a contingent offer, I feel like they always lose something in the negotiation. You're just always at a disadvantage because people are very reluctant to take contingent offers, first of all, okay? It's too complicated and there's too much uncertainty for them. And so what I mean by you lose something in the negotiation means that either you end up having to pay more for the house, right? Because you want to boost their certainty. So you might say, okay, well, look, we'll do 20 grand more, okay? So you end up either paying more for the house. If there's some kind of inspection result that you want to negotiate, it's pretty unlikely that they're going to, they might be kind of hard and fast on it. They might not have very much room to let you negotiate that. The other thing is that I think that you may lose something in terms of time. And what I mean by time is there may be pressure put on you to sell your house for a lower price faster, right? Because all contingencies have clauses in them that put time pressure on you, right? Like they're like, okay, you want to sell contingent? Fine. But you need to sell it in this certain amount of time. And if I get another offer, right, you're always in danger until you actually get it under contract. If I get another offer that I like better, I can notify you and I can bump you out of this house, which means then if your house is still on the market, in this market, I don't think this is likely unless something went wrong with your pricing, but they can bump you and then they can say, okay, so then what do? You're bumped now. You get a certain amount of time now to sell your house. You got to sell it really fast, right? Then you call your agent, you say, okay, lower the price, right? So we can get it sold quickly, right? So you see what I mean? I think you lose something in terms of both money and time, I just think you lose something. Okay. And you know, those are just a few examples. I mean, there might be other things, like they might ask you to do other stuff, you know, like, you know, things that might put more money at risk or something like that. All right. So I think you always lose something. Okay. And I mean, I think that those are like kind of like the top 3 cons. I would say that the pros list is maybe a little bit less. I mean, it's obviously really convenient for you to be able to sell contingent. You don't have to have 2 mortgages. I mean, that's one pro. You don't have to maybe consider having to move twice, right? Because, you know, one option is you sell your house and you move into like some kind of temporary residence, right? You don't have to move twice. You don't have to think about like temporarily putting your stuff into storage while you stay in a hotel and then hope and pray that you find a house, right? I mean, there are definitely, I think, a couple of pros to being able to pull off a contingent deal. And so, I mean, I think you'll just have to kind of decide like what you think is better, you know? I think the biggest con, like when I'm kind of weighing them out, is losing on the house that you want. Man, especially with inventory being so low, right? Like probably that house is not coming, probably that house is not coming back, right? That house is probably not coming back. So I think that's the biggest one. Yeah, and that would be my concern. So I think that pretty much wraps up, you know, what selling contingent is, what the pros and cons are, you know, if you'd want to go that way. I think it can be done. I mean, I have seen a couple of houses go contingent in this market, and they're contingent for like 2 days because the market's so hot, they sell really fast. So, I mean, you know, the only advice I can give you is if you're going to try to sell contingent, you have to be on the top of that pile. You have to be the highest priced. See what I'm saying? You have to be the highest priced. You have to pretty much bend over backward and give that seller everything they want so that you can get it done. All right, so that's my video. Next week, we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? Recasting. Okay, we're going to talk about recasting as a strategy. All right, so if you have not yet done this, please like the video, like it, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you again soon. Take care, YouTube.